This is my Destiny 2 Basso Ostinato shotgun at base. Now it looks like this, and in the blink of an eye, it looks like this. Well-rounded. Since the introduction of Strand, this Destiny 2 perk has been waiting to be rediscovered. Combined with the Strand Fragment of Ascent, Well-Rounded pushes range, stability, handling, reload speed, and airborne effectiveness in ways that certain archetypes should not be allowed to push. I first discovered how strong this interaction was in my iterative loop deep dive, where I pushed the rapid fire fusion to 19 meters, and that led me to see what other weapons I could break. Here it is again on my crafted rangefinder Epicurean. At base, the stats look like this, now it looks like this, and with hardly any effort at all, it maxes nearly every stat that matters to this. You'd think a crazy stat boost like this would only last for a few seconds, but no. Not only is this perk combo practically free on Strand Hunters, yes, even after the Kickstart mod nerf that just happened, but it lasts an incredible 15 seconds, and in this video, I'm gonna show you how each part works, how to easily keep it looped an entire game, and which weapons it's worth running on. Well-Rounded has two stages. At times 1, Well-Rounded gives plus 10 range, stability, and handling, and at times 2, it gives plus 20 range, stability, and handling. And D2 Foundry estimates that the enhanced version gives plus 24 range, stability, and handling. That's almost as big as a buff as you get as a Destiny 2 player for subscribing to this YouTube channel. Each stage of Well-Rounded lasts for 15 seconds and is activated on either a powered melee hit or simply throwing your grenade. So after activating times 1, you'll have 15 seconds to use a grenade or hit someone with a powered melee to activate times 2. And after that, you can keep times 2 refresh back up to 15 seconds using the same method. 15 seconds is a very generous amount of time to get this perk stacked up or keep it looped. And for just using your grenade, you don't even have to hit anything. Yes, even Strand grapple works for this, even if you deactivate the grapple within 1 second of using it, which only takes away half of your grenade energy. So Strand hunters are going to have a blast using only half of one of their grenade charges and then grappling to their grapple point for free for times 2 of Well-Rounded. Titans and Warlocks don't sleep on it either. The Strand grapple melee, which doesn't actually deplete any extra energy, will activate times 2 of Well-Rounded as well. So in one swift move, you can grapple into grapple melee and have times 2 of Well-Rounded ready to go. While we're going to focus on Strand in this deep dive, if you're using a subclass outside of Strand, this is still a fantastic perk option. You'd be surprised how often Well-Rounded will go off from healing nades, dust fields, and the more obvious double grenade builds like Chernoby's. Okay, so Well-Rounded times 2 gives us plus 20 range, stability, and handling where there usually shouldn't be. Where it shouldn't be. What do I mean by that? Well, take Basso Ostinato for example. Rapid fire shotguns usually don't max out their range stat. There is one exception with a perfectly rolled Crucible Wishbringer shotgun that has slide shot and opening shot, but even that requires you to be sliding. Outside of that, there are no range boosting perks in the third column, except for Well-Rounded. Activating Well-Rounded times 2 on this Basso Ostinato with small bore, Accurize, range masterwork, and opening shot will bring me to 98 range and allows me to hit a 7-meter one-shot with the rapid fire shotgun. And we're not even close to done yet. Strand's Fragment of Ascent enters the chat. Fragment of Ascent is another huge stat boost that activates as soon as you activate your grenade. Just like Well-Rounded. It also lasts for 15 seconds, just like Well-Rounded. It's perfect synergy. I cannot overstate this. Fragment of Ascent gives you plus 30 handling, plus 30 airborne effectiveness, plus 40 reload speed, and a 0.925 times reload duration multiplier on that reload speed. So between this fragment and Well-Rounded, which activate at the same time and last for the same amount of time, you're at a total of plus 20 range, plus 20 stability, plus 50 handling, plus 30 airborne effectiveness, plus 40 reload speed with that fast 0.925 times reload duration multiplier. That's a total 160 stat boost from one perk and one fragment that can be activated on a whim. And on a Strand Hunter for literally just using half of a single grenade charge. 160. So this is obviously incredible, but what weapons is it worth running on? I think for the most part, special weapons are the standouts, as they are hard-hitting close-range weapons that are usually worth building up your well-rounded stacks for. We've got fusion, shotguns, and trace rifles that we'll look at in a second, but don't completely count out primaries, as we've got some close range ones you can push further, specifically the Unforgiven and Inyo D SMGs and the Drang sidearm. Unforgiven has a lower zoom to begin with, and it's got some other good PvE perks in that column, so I wouldn't gravitate towards that one as much. But Inyo D has 15 zoom, and if you have a max range roll, well-rounded ×2 will push your range stat all the way to 100 while giving you that stability buff. Pretty sick. Drang, already famous for pushing distances it shouldn't, pushes its range stat to 90 with well-rounded ×2, 94 range if it's enhanced. Yeah, the Trials Forgiveness sidearm's here too, but that thing can max its range very easily without well-rounded, so it's a bit of a wash here in my opinion. But let's talk about the real action, special weapons. For fusion rifles, we've got Burden of Guilt, Riptide, Iterative Loop, Mida's Reckoning, the Epicurean, and the Wizened Rebuke. Out of these, I take a few off the table immediately, specifically Mida's Reckoning and the Wizened Rebuke. Mid is because you're giving up the backup plan and successful warm-up combo that makes it one of the best fusion rifles in the entire game, not worth the trade-off. And Wizened Rebuke for two reasons. One, because it's not even available on the new version this season, and two, even if it was, Under Pressure is the better perk option for a high impact. That out of the way, I really wish I kept a good well-rounded roll on an Adept Burden of Guilt. It's one of my favorite fusion rifles in the game, and while I do love killing wind on it, an Elemental Capacitor is a great alternative. To get a free range boost in that column would have been a very welcome addition at any time. Even if I'm not running Strand, just throwing a grenade here or there or a powered melee connecting gives me that plus 10 range stability and handling, I'll take it. As I covered in the in-depth iterative loop guide, you can hit up to 19 meters with this fusion by going all range with well-rounded ×2 and a ton of targeting mods to help your aim assist and connect the bolts. And I hate to say it, but you could do the same thing with Riptide. Granted, it won't be as effective because iterative loop is better, and you have to get lucky with your drops because you can't craft it, but it is a rapid fire fusion option in the kinetic slot with extreme range, so I'm a little curious to try it out now. We covered the Epicurean a little at the beginning. Absolutely cracked way to get 100 range with rangefinder. I honestly can't believe this exists and that it's craftable. You can just go make it and then be mapping people like this. This is the weapon that makes me think that this perk will get nerfed. It just feels wrong. When I first theory crafted it, my jaw was just on the floor and it didn't disappoint in real matches either. Not just the range, but the snappiness of it all. Look at that handling. So definitely go check that one out while you can. For shotguns, we've got Basso Ostinato, Dead Weight, Without Remorse, and an old version of Mindbenders. I'd personally take Mindbenders off the table. Even if you have an old version of it with well-rounded, the newer aggressive frame shotguns, Imperial Decree and Astral Horizon, have such better options. There's just no reason. Then I'll also consider Dead Weight, as it's a rapid fire frame that would be worth pushing range where you usually can't, but it doesn't have anything in the fourth column to really max it out. On the flip side, as we talked about in the beginning, Basso Ostinato does. This has been one of the most fun weapons to run this on for me. I got the small bore range masterwork accurized opening shot roll with well-rounded, which will max out my range on the first shot, and it's pretty glorious. It's not as consistent as a top of the line aggressive frame, but for a rapid fire, you can do follow-up shots really fast at a very decent distance. It's a fantastic gun and plays into the Strand gameplay really well. High recommend, I'm loving it. Without Remorse is the last shotgun I wanted to cover with it, and this is one that's really cool for one specific reason. It's not just for range, because there are lots of lightweight shotguns that can max out their range. It's that Without Remorse comes with Elemental Capacitor too. On Strand, with Fragment of Ascent plus Enhanced Elemental Capacitor with well-rounded ×2 and an Icarus grip, it'll take you to 99 range, 100 handling, and 73 airborne effectiveness on a shotgun. With just the slightest push from an airborne effectiveness exotic, you could push this to 100 airborne effectiveness on a shotgun, which is hilarious. Lastly, for trace rifles, I don't feel like it's worth running on Hollow Denial, as Rangefinder is such a good perk you'd be giving up in that third column, but I would highly encourage you to check it out on Retrace Path from Dares of Eternity, as you can now craft that weapon and deck it out to the max with well-rounded. With a range masterwork, small bore, light battery, and well-rounded, you've completely maxed out all your stats when you get the grapple going with the Fragment of Ascent. hundreds across the board or right up to it. And you've got the entire fourth column to choose one of the many great damage options to top it off. I'm really loving well-rounded on all these weapons and its synergy with the Strand playstyle. I hope you have some fun with it too. This has been Lego with Flash. Until next time, GG.